And we are live. What is going on, everybody? It is your girl, Martha D. Staub, owner of MDMC Entertainment.
And I'm Mark Schroeder. I'm the other half here over here in Albuquerque. What is going on, Martha?
Oh my gosh, this week has been crazy. I haven't even shown you any of the footage that I got from the MDMC East crew, but I have been editing this video, this tour, for almost 10 hours now. It is.
I was wondering about that. I saw something posted on.
Yep.
And then you like immediately took it down, and I was like, damn, I really wanted to see that.
Well, according to the executive producer, Mr. Luis Aspuro, he's like, there's so much footage that's not in there. Take it down. And I was like, okay. So there I go, taking it down. And I'm just like, come on, man. And he's like, no. So last night we got on a FaceTime or a Zoom last night. And he was like, no, we should go down the list and see what we have. I was like, all right. So went down the list, got all the footage, and then I re-edited again. And then I dropped it in the Dropbox for him to look at. And he was like, well, now there's some other stuff missing. I'm like, oh my God, go through the Dropbox and figure out what's missing. Because the objective was to drop it on Tuesday. Because I want to start, he's already gotten 3 interviews already with entrepreneurs. There's one that I was listening to. This man was unemployed. And he started, just doing car washes on his own on the side as just a side hustle. And it turned into a business. Now he has a storefront. He has the whole bit. I'm like, dang, that is cool. And the last one he talked to was a music producer. So that's exciting. I saw some footage of that. I'm like, dang, like if you're watching the MDMC Instagram stories, it's all there. There's some edits in there as well from stuff I was doing. They're killing it. I'm really excited.
No, I mean, hey, the more content we can push out the channel, the better.
Lewis is,
and it's not just because we want to monetize it. It's just because we want to sit there and actually entertain and inform.
Well, like I told, I didn't share this to my personal page. Like I told Lewis, I said the objective of this was to definitely be able to tell the business side of things, Right. I want people to see stories like that man who was like, down on his luck, was just trying to do stuff for, just to get some money, and then it turns into a business. That's a cool story. I love that. That's great.
And those are the types of stories that, I mean, you definitely know that the blood, sweat, and tears, the sweat equity went into it. And I can appreciate that. I've been down that road myself. I know you're down that road.
So let's start a business, and then it's like, oh God.
And it goes back to the idea that people think running a business is easy. If you build it, they will come.
That's not
it just doesn't work. It really just doesn't work that way. I mean, and especially in this day and age in COVID, I mean, for every, I would say 10 businesses that are closing, there are 2 that are starting up.
It's crazy because, and I got my start. I literally got let go of the last job I was at, working for some crazy person downtown. And I was like, well, this is the time. I'm really just going to do it. I'm just going to start the business. The hell with it. We're going to roll. And in a week, I got a client. I got a client with 2 businesses that she was starting up. And then she gave me the down payment. And I'm like, whoa, people were giving me a down payment for business? Yeah. And she's like, you need to start doing that. And I said, okay. So, I mean, I got extremely fortunate. And I think, it's also that, you're building up your reputation. You're building up who you are. I think people know the quality of work I bring to the table. I don't have to sit there like every other business person on IG touting how many millions you've made and stuff. Look, I don't make millions. Okay. I make enough to live comfortably. And that's just the way I wanted it. I think
right. That's exactly right.
And I don't think you should tout how much you'd be making. I can tell you how much money I've made businesses. That's fine. But For me, it's not about becoming a millionaire. I remember like I tell you, I frequent a lot of these entrepreneur groups, and I was talking to a girl, and she wanted to sell her services to me. And I thought, okay, you might be, reasonable. She was saying she wanted $6,000 and half of it up front. I was like, for what? And then like as a business person, I'm like, I want to tell you that you're from a consumer side, that's sticker shock. Okay. Because I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. And you expect me to pay you $6,000 for a service. I don't know if it's going to work for me. And I'm like, And then you have all the fine print. And this is where these business coaches come in. And I think most business coaches are in it to make the 10K a month. They're in it to, and no disrespect, some of those business coaches are really good. Some of them,
Correct.
some of them have some decent experience, but
Correct.
some of them are just in it to say they're an entrepreneur and they can make money. I'm just like, that's not. I don't charge anyone $6,000. I don't even go past the 5K mark. I think, I'm teetering with someone on that level, but $6,000 for like 3 months of service? No, I'm good.
Now, the best I've ever done is a year contract at $12,000.
It's not bad. It's still money.
I mean, and it paid. I mean, 2 clients. I was doing 2 clients, no kids at the time.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially in New Mexico, rent is like $300. Like,
well, no, that's not totally true.
What's the rent for a 2-bedroom in Albuquerque?
Almost 1,100 now.
Really?
Yeah,
it's gone up. Okay.
It's gone up quite a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when I got my first apartment, it was a studio.
Mhm.
It was like $450 a month.
That's not bad.
That same studio is now almost $9.
That is insane. What?
It don't get me wrong. That's nice. It was nice, but it wasn't that nice.
I'm already looking at potential office space for a potential office out there, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, it's not bad. It's not as bad. It's bad. It's expensive.
Well, right now, retail or / office space in New Mexico is gonna, over the next few months, my going bet right now is it's gonna get cheaper because of COVID, because there are going to be a lot of businesses who have been unable to pivot, and money's running out from the PPP loan.
Yeah.
And they, they're kind of going like, surrender.
On that, I just think it's almost childish. I mean, I understand the frustration. I understand people are struggling, and they want their business open. They want to be able to service their people. They want to be able to keep their doors open. I understand. Right. I went and had dinner before they shut us down. California shut down again. I didn't even get to do my hair. Okay. I didn't get to do my nails. I'm pissed. But
you can thank Gavin Newsom for that one.
Newsom, he's not bad. I mean, I understand. We just surpassed New York in the cases. But I don't necessarily know if those cases are true. I had a friend of mine who, and I've told you this, he was telling me, yo, you were in LA and you didn't come see me. I was like, no, man. Why? What do you want? And he was like, I wanted you to come by and see the studio and let's hang out for a bit. And I was like, oh, I'll do it next time. That Monday, he tested for COVID positive. And I was like, you crazy. I'm like, are you serious? Are you okay? What do you feel? He's like, I feel fine. And I said, do you have any symptoms? Do you have fever? He's like, no, everything's fine. And then he started to freak himself out a little bit because he was supposed to quarantine for 14 days. So he quarantined, and he was like, there was a point where he felt like his throat was a little stuffy. So he went and made a hot tea, and then he took his temperature, and I'm like, dude, you know it's gonna be hot, right?
Whoops.
And he was like, I was freaking out. I said, that must play with your head. And so I called him frequently, and I bug him often, you know, and I'll be bugging him more lately. But I was like, does it not mess with your head that they diagnosed you, and now you might have it, you might not? And he's like, I feel fine. And then so he told me he went after the 14 days, he went back to the clinic, they tested it, he's negative. And I said, I feel like you got a false positive. And then he said, I took a friend with me to go get it done. And he was waiting forever. He said, the hell with it. So a couple hours later, that same clinic called his friend and said, you're tested positive. And he said, I didn't even take the test. And they're like, what? And he's like, I didn't take the test. So that I kind of feel, and I know this is very
conspiracy theory-ish.
It's not conspiracy theory. I just feel like they're inflating the numbers a bit. I don't necessarily think it's as high as they say.
In California, yeah. In New Mexico, for example, I think if it's not spot on, it's pretty darn close.
But in New Mexico, I can understand because it's such a rural area. There's shit spread out, you know?
Yes, of course. I mean,
yeah.
And the thing is that, you know, everybody's deciding whether or not to send their kids to school. And the governor here is, Lujan Grisham's going to talk on that at 3:00. And so
I don't think you can send anyone back until there's a vaccine. I really don't think you can do that.
And this is a question, that's a question that like my wife and I struggled with, not just from the business perspective, because there's a certain amount of things of, okay, what's it going to do to our business?
Right.
To what's it going to do to the kids?
Right.
But I ended up asking my oldest, who both of my kids are special needs. They're 8 and 5. And I asked my oldest, I said, what do you think about going back to school in the fall? Like, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. He's like, no, I want to stay home, do it virtually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? He's like, I want to be safe.
Yeah. And he's 8? He just turned 8.
No, he's 8. The 5-year-old just turned 5.
5-year-old just turned 5. Okay. Gabriel's 5. What's your oldest name? I don't know if you want to say your kids' names online. Never mind.
Sean Thomas.
Sean Thomas. Okay. So Sean Thomas is your oldest, and Gabriel is your baby. Okay. Aww.
But that's
I mean, kids are smart. They're not dumb. They know what's going on. Especially if you are, you know, you're in close quarters now. Like, you literally can't leave. I know I was having this discussion last night with my partner in crime. I was like, I can go, because I was starting to edit this video. I was going to get on the call with Lewis, and I was like, let me go in there. And he was like, no, you could stay here. And I was like, I'm just trying to give you your space. And he's like, there is no space in this house. I was like, well, do you want me to leave? Like, you know, and it's just, you know, I have a very strict guideline whenever he's home, because, you know, he works every other day. The county was dumb, and oh sweet, Junior Felix followed MDMC Entertainment. About freaking time, Junior. Thank you. But whenever it's work hours and he's home, I'm like, I'm in here, I'm locked away, don't bug me. I'll come out to get, you know, snacks or drinks or whatever, but don't bug me even between the hours of 9 to 5, because, you know, you have to be available. And then after that, then I'm like, all right, I'll go in there. And then I think right now I'm on a crazy hamster wheel right now where I'm just constantly working. So,
well, and you're exactly right. I mean, the business, right now, with the clients that we have right now, I mean, yeah, they do demand a lot of time, but we have it set, the business set up in such a fashion where, you know, our tent is wide open. We are more than happy to take more clients.
Absolutely. We can take it. I just complain a lot. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. No, but I love it though. This is the type of business I always wanted to be in, where I could call the shots. and I can work on projects I want to work on. And, and I mean, I get inquiries all the time. I don't think I really don't like to talk about how many inquiries we get, but we get a lot. And we get, we do have a lot of business coming through. So, I mean, I think people have seen some befores and afters of profiles we've worked on, and, have seen results from other people. I think,
right.
It's the proof is in the pudding. Just
and that's exactly right. I mean, I give you a perfect example. I'm going to reference the sports memorabilia business I have. You tore its social media apart, ripped it to shreds.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and this is the one thing I've always learned in this industry: if you can't take criticism, get out of the kitchen.
Oh, for sure. And
I will be the first person to say a lot of your recommendations have been spot on. And maybe this much about the sports collectibles aspect.
Sports, no.
Right. And the thing is that's really where the business is going, is that, people are very visual, and especially now, because if, let's say, God forbid, we have another lockdown of some sort, which in New Mexico, for example, it could go either way. I'll know more after 3:00 this afternoon. But
those must always happen on every Thursday, because you're like, oh, I've got to watch the governor.
On
Thursdays.
Well, it's funny. But I think what it is that the governor was waiting for the other stuff that's been going on to blow over, i.e., our president wanting to send troops to Albuquerque, Chicago, places like that. That little lawsuit, is it good PR? Is it good PR and optics on her part? Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't know.
But the thing is that, even the government, or even the state government, is having to sit there and flip around on how they would do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, things are just slowing down considerably. Perfect example, post office. With the postmaster general basically saying, if you can't get it done in one shot, leave it. And let me tell you, I've been waiting for a package from upstate New York, and it's been about a week and a half.
Oh man, I have to order my clothes online now. That takes 4 weeks for it to come in.
Right, exactly.
It's like, what in the world? Amazon's producing faster. I know, because this specific clothing store that I shop at, they have a warehouse next to Frankensons in City of Industry. So I pass by it. So I'm like, I know they're there, but all of my packages are coming out of Ohio. So I don't know if they closed the California facility or not. I need to go back. I'm going there this weekend. I'll probably cruise by.
Hey, look, it's Bill.
Bill Pally. What is up? Bill, I want you as a guest on this show.
Yes, Bill's the man.
I've been meaning to hit you up and see if you're even comfortable even doing a sit down like this via Zoom, or we're on a StreamYard. But Bill is one of those guys that, again, it's so important to have, if you're really passionate about something and you have that side business, to run with it. He runs Wrestling Inc. Go check them out. They have I told my partner in crime, I was like, buy from Bill from now on. I got upset with somebody. I was not very pleased with something I got recently. And I said, if Bill has it, get it from him. I don't care how much it is. Just buy it from Bill. And so now Bill has become our direct go-to. So, partner.
Yeah, Bill. I missed the last auction, man, and I was looking for some more cards. So yeah, I will definitely hit you up on your next one. And that's the thing. I mean, he's legit. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Probably longer. And the thing is that I would. I mean, yeah, he has his certificate of authenticities. I would point blank put those up against like PSA or Beckett.
Show me the money. Yeah, it, Bill. No, he's got. I was going through that site. There's something in particular I was looking for. My partner in crime's birthday is this weekend, and I was looking for something super particular, and I had to go through your site to see if you had it. And you didn't.
and he's he's a perfect example of another person who's been able to pivot with COVID. Obviously, we won't talk about his situation in particular, but he was able to sit there and pivot in a hurry, and it's benefited him.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the prime example of someone who has done it successfully.
Yeah.
And obviously, I need to go back and look at what you got, Bill, again. And there's a few I like. I know you'll treat me well.
There's something else I needed to talk to him about. Because he works a lot with the WWE former superstars and stuff, and partner and Cram were talking about getting something done that we probably should have done at LAX Fan Fest that we need to get the ball rolling on, since we are going to be officially locked down. I have a feeling we're going to be locked down for another couple months. So we need to. I'll talk to you about that later, Bill. But you're awesome. I'm so glad you're
here. Oh, definitely. I it's awesome that he popped in and said, "What's up?"
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to get in touch with him after this and see, because I was looking at our calendar for next month, and the New York boys are doing fantastic getting these interviews. They're hitting up everybody, and they're doing fantastic sit down. And the weird thing is people are actually letting Lewis come in and sit down and talk to him face to face. And I know it would probably be easier for the New York boys to hit Bill up, but I know Bill, and I'd rather have that face to face myself on here. Because they're getting so much content, I'm like, man, I want to start getting guests on here. I know Roger is a businessman. I want to get Roger on at some point. Justin Nemo, the In Space Silver Ranger, he's also a businessman as well. He's an entrepreneur. When I was starting my business, he sat there. Like, I remember it was during Christmas time, and I called Nemo, and I'm like, hey, I need some help on this. And he sat there and talked me through it. And I was like, okay. So, all these Power Rangers that I'm very close with, they have some knowledge. And I think, as great as they are as Power Rangers, I want to get the other side of that story and bring it to the forefront, because every time someone shows up, they're like, oh, yay, let's rock it. And I'm like, no, let's talk about other things. But I guess it's because I've been working with him for so long. I'm just like, let's not rock it. Let's talk about, how did you get here? And I know some of those questions are in that documentary that Brendan did. But I want to sit down, and because Roger's like myself, he's a very business-oriented man. He is always busy. He is always on the go. Like, I can't ever get him on the phone. Sometimes I can. The other day I called, and he came through. He's like, what's going on? We need, give me some updates on this, and this. So we had a little business chat, but I can get a good 5 minutes out of him, a solid quality 5 minutes, and then he's off doing what he needs to do. So, yeah, that's what I have planned for next month. I just need to start making calls.
Yeah, I know. I definitely know that feeling. I mean, and I've noticed this about business folks around the country. Basically, if you can't pivot right now, you're gonna fail.
I just think, I know there's still some business loans out there, and I know that people are using it towards, their
payroll.
Their payroll. Oh, man, I would just,
Well,
You know?
and the thing is that, for example, I did one. I did
Mhm.
a PP. I was able to do a PPP loan, being a sole proprietor, and basically, when you submit, as long as you have all your paperwork in order, you're able to sit there and say, okay, this is how much you can get. Three times what you're three times what you're making,
Mhm.
which pretty much is what worked out.
So
I
you have
mean,
your sole proprietorship for the business, for your card business.
mhm.
Okay.
Well, no, there's the sole proprietorship for my entire company itself,
Oh, okay.
and then basically I have the branches of said company, which all
Mm.
lead back to the mothership.
Right, right. I know. I kind of want to segment off. I want to do some. I was thinking about that. I was like, I love our name, MDMC Entertainment, but I've been playing around with the idea of changing the name or
No,
making a sub, like a sub business out of it. I don't know. I
the
sit
subsidiary. I would more tell you
around.
to do. I would tell you to more make a subsidiary of whatever you're thinking.
I think it's just I don't know if entertainment is so because we do things outside of entertainment. The reason I picked the name MDMC Entertainment and I put marketing and public relations because I wanted people in entertainment to know that I was a marketing / public relations firm. That is the
Right,
only reason I did that because I was like, if people in entertainment don't understand what I do, it makes no sense. It
right,
sounds like any other agency, but I legit have experience working in entertainment. I know how to, I've managed celebrity clients. I've worked on indie projects. I've been on movie sets. I've done the whole bit, and I'm
right.
very fortunate that I have.
Yes, you have.
But then we get to like a client, like we pitched a proposal to somebody else, and I'm like, we're MDMC Entertainment, we're a digital marketing agency. And it's not in the realm of entertainment. That's why I say we're entertainment and beyond. I don't know if that's identity crisis or that's just me overthinking it as a business owner. I don't know.
I'm thinking that you're overthinking it, but
I just
but the thing is that you're also trying to pivot in this economy too, to what will actually work.
I'm just so pissed. I mean, I had some really good deals lined up in New York right after I left New York in January of this year, right
Yep.
before COVID. I was supposed to be back in New York in October. I was supposed to, like I had all of these, I had a really strong pipeline. And that's why I said 2020 is going to be the blowout year for us, for entertainment, for, digital marketing itself, for the whole bit. And it shot to shit, man. I
Right, but you're right. It
so
did shoot
sad.
it did shoot us in the foot. But the thing is that we stopped for a second, and we had to rethink where we were going.
What's interesting is New York, or I'm sorry, not New York Comic Con, LA Comic Con. They just sent out an email of how they have pushed back their September date to December. And what they have done is they sent mock-ups of the floor plan, and
Hmm.
they figured out how many people should be where. They've changed the main stage to another room that's very large so people can social distance and still watch the main stage. They're
Mm.
implementing live streaming, so maybe you don't want to stand in that room, maybe you watch it on your phone. Um, that was a very. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna show that. I'm gonna have to share that
Yeah,
on
I think you should,
because
because I mean it sounds like I
they
mean
really
we've talked
thought it
about this,
through.
that the all the particular cons, they weren't able to pivot. And from what you're describing, it sounds like LA Comic Con was able to pivot.
They sat there and they moved the date to December, which I hope they can make it work. If that's the case, I would love to get a booth out there and we'll do LA Comic Con. At least do one con. I mean, we had one appearance at LAX Fan Fest. That was the first of many. We're going to have a couple of appearances in New York that didn't happen. We're going to do 2 appearances in Albuquerque that didn't happen. So
Right.
I'm going to hopefully see if this con works out. I'm going to wait until like October to see if we're good. And then I'll probably think about getting a booth space out there and just go out there and maybe try to gung-ho it for 2021 to see if we can get more business. But they really sat there and thought it out. And last night you were sending me, you were just the uproar of the post you sent me, and you're like, did you read this? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a Funko war because San Diego Comic-Con is this week. They sold, all the vendors are selling their exclusives online. The New York boys are like, yo, it's 5:00 Pacific Standard, get in this. And so I'm like, I'm over here and you're sending me pictures of stuff. And I'm like, shut up, Mark. I'm like over here trying to and I'm sitting here watching it. And I was cooking dinner at the same time. And, partner in crime comes in. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm cooking. I'm watching Funko. And it was just like refreshing. And then I'm sitting there cooking, and he's sitting there talking. All of a sudden, the screen changes. I'm like, oh my God. And I left the food on the stove. I was like, let me sign up. Let me get the shipping. Let me get the card number. And then once I put in my information, it says getting shipping rates. And then that circle kept going and going. I'm like, what the hell? And I had, we just watched Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot. And so it was fantastic. I love Kevin Smith. I think he's one of the greatest directors out there right now. I love Clerks 2. Clerks 2 is my flying movie. I don't know if anyone has, I do well flying, but sometimes I get a little skittish. So Clerks 2 is my flying movie because I laugh throughout the entire thing. It's great. But they had a point where Silent Bob got into a Hulk suit, or an Iron Hulk suit. And so they had the Iron Silent Bob Funko Pop as an exclusive. So I was trying to get it. I was like, oh my God. And I lost it.
Wow.
I couldn't
get it. That is
it.
Kind of cool.
I got the Dwight Schrute with the Princess Unicorn, and I got Harry Potter at the Wizarding World Cup. So I was like, I was after the Dwight Schrute Recyclops. I was after the Silent Bob. And I was also after the Mr. Freeze in glitter. And I was so pissed I didn't get them. And Partner in Crime's like, they're releasing these at the stores. And I said, I don't care. I want them now because if I'm not going to be able to find it in the store, I already know. And if I go to Frank's, it'll be gauged. It would just be gouged to hell. So.
Well, and then Bill here, says, as one of the old school people doesn't think cons can be altered. If they're not catering to the masses, there isn't enough profit to be made.
That is true. I sat there and wondered that as well. I mean, we'll put up his comment real quick so you guys can see it. Here's the thing. I go to Comic-Cons to meet people. And now, how am I going to take a picture with somebody with a face mask? Like that to me, I met Jason Momoa without a face mask. If I had not met him without a face mask, it would have meant anything. You get to look at the glory in front of you. That's another.
Put your tongue back in your mouth.
That's my boo. But anyway, no, I feel that because I know there was a couple Power Rangers that were doing small shows at Comic-Con or at comic stores, and you have. I think it was JDF. He had his face mask on and everything on one side, and then these people are on the other side of the frame to take the picture, and they're just like, I'm like, that's whack. It just sucks. It's Comic-Cons are never going to be the same again.
No, they're not. Comic-Cons, any collectible show is not going to be the same again. I mean, the thing is that the same thing applies to the sports end of it too, is that, how are you, you have to sit there and, how are you going to sanitize stuff that's going to be worth, anywhere from $1 to, priceless. Shall I reference the China urn from LAX Fan Fest? I still have nightmares about that one.
I think I made a joke about that to a friend. I don't know who is running around with China's urn. We're talking about the wrestling superstar, the great seventh or eighth wonder of the world, China. I think she's the eighth wonder of the world. China was cremated and she was put into an urn. And we were at LAX Fan Fest. You know, we were set up. Bill was across from us. And I don't know who, I think it was Junior from that hashtag show.
Yeah, I think it was.
And he was like, yo. And I was like, what? He's like, go look at that table and look what's on the table. And I was like, what are you talking about? As I look over, I was like, oh. I was like, what? And I was like, that's got to be fake. And he's like, nope. And I said, how do you know? And he's like, I'm going to go look around. So I watched him go around. I was like, oh, my God. And then, of course, partner in crime, being the smart ass that he is, he's like, well, at least she was able to make it. I was like, oh, God, you can't say that.
Well, and actually, Bill elaborated on this. Her former agent owns the urn.
Is she in the urn? Do we know that? I don't know if we know that.
Well, let's see if Bill has anything to say about that.
I don't know. That's a little weird. I mean,
what price? It's kind of like, for example, if someone wanted to touch that urn, in our now COVID environment,
can't do that.
Pardon.
Mm-hmm.
No, how many? Oh, okay. He says partially.
That's still weird.
And the big thing is that, in this post-COVID environment, I mean, how many times are you going to have to sanitize that thing? And supposedly it had real diamonds on it.
What? I didn't know that.
I mean, that's what I understood. But I think the promoter of LAX Fan Fest sat there and kind of made him remove it.
There's a huge custody battle over the. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I can show it. The reins are. Her sister has half, and the agent has half. Wasn't the agent the one that found her though? I thought they were friends. I thought China was very tight. I don't know. I know there's a documentary coming out on China. I can't wait to watch it. She's actually one of my absolute favorites. I think she was. A lot of people. We're gonna go on a tangent, but we're gonna go down this road. I feel like her legacy has been erased because Triple H and Stephanie kind of want to forget that she even existed. And then when this whole movement of the divas came through, they all said it was the Bella twins that were part of that revolution. I'm sorry, it was not. You had trailblazers like China. You had trailblazers like Trish, Lita, Mickie James, Melina. Those women pushed that forward. It wasn't until, and then of course, the Bellas were, I hate those women. I think they're just the most vile women on the planet. I'm just not a Bella fan. And I know Bill probably loves them, but I feel, and I read their book and everything. I'm just like, I feel like they got a golden parachute, whereas where China didn't. China got fed to the wolves. China was just let go because she was, with Triple H, or Stephanie was with Triple H, and they just fed her to the wolves. And so her legacy to me, will never be fulfilled in the way that I want it to be. I know that WWE inducted DX, but I think that was because there was so much outcry for China not being inducted personally. And I don't think she'll ever get inducted by herself.
I don't think Vince McMahon would let it happen, is my feeling.
It's a damn tragedy, though.
I know. The thing is for example, I'd let her body slam me any day of the week.
And what really pissed me off was when we started going to shows and stuff, Monster Palooza, she was supposed to. I have my women's championship belt. I have it with Mickey's and Lita and Trish. I like the whole nine.
Right.
I have a few. Bill, I wanted to go see Layla. Layla, he was going to have Layla in New York in June, and I wanted to go. I was going to fly over there so I can have Layla sign my belt because she was the last one to hold it. But Monster Palooza came. That was the week China died. I had already bought tickets to Monster Palooza, and I was like, I don't even want to go. Can I get a refund? They wouldn't give me a refund. but I didn't end up going. That was the first time I actually cried for anyone's passing. Like I don't usually care about celebrity. I mean, I'm a big celebrity watcher. All the
Yep.
culture and stuff. I love that because I thought at one point I'd work for E News, but
The sad thing is, I could still see it.
Yeah,
China dated Triple H for many years. I'm sure it in itself caused tension with Stephanie and Vince.
I get it, but let your personal shit slide. This is the legacy of a person. Like I get it. Christian Wall will never be inducted. We know that because obviously what he did. So I mean, China didn't kill anybody. Just induct her already. Damn.
Right.
I mean, I started this, and let me take you way back to when I started going to Comic-Cons and I started a blog. I started a blog under a fake name, under all this stuff. And I used to I was writing a lot of blogs about that evolution around that time.
Right.
It's so sad. I wish China would get her due diligence. It's just so good.
And you're right. I mean, she should. I mean, she was actually a decent competitor, at least in my mind.
Now I got to go find the belt that she signed and go pay for it. I'm pissed. I'm just, Bill, do you have a WWE Women's Championship belt with China's autograph on it? I might consider buying one.
I know he has a card, a slabbed card of her signed that I've sat there, I've been drooling over ever since I first laid my eyes on it. That and what's his name? Gene Oberlin.
Yeah. What I have my eyes on is the Ultimate Warrior, except I think someone has one for $250, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay $250 for it. If I can get it down to maybe $150, I might buy it. You got one, Bill? What's he got?
Yeah.
He probably does.
That man seems to have everything. I mean, good Lord. I looked at his Facebook page, and he's just showing stacks and stacks and stacks. Oh, he's asking stupid money for it. And that's right. I mean, the thing is that I can see him asking stupid money for it because I've probably asked stupid money for it if I was him.
Victor from Gemini Sports was doing a live auction one day, and he had an Ultimate Warrior, and he's like, "We're going to start the bidding." I didn't know how the bidding works in those, and I said $50, and he's like, "No, we're starting at $150," and I was like, "Aw." I was like, "No, I mean maybe," but everyone started bidding, so I was like, "Okay, never mind. I'm not going to win this." So I'm holding off. I already spent a lot of money on my partner in crime. I don't know. Let's see. I got to take him to Frank's this weekend, so we'll see what he finds out there.
I mean, the thing is this all goes back to COVID and how businesses are pivoting. I mean, the thing is that we've given perfect examples. How the WWE has been pivoting, for example.
I like have you seen a recent WWE event where I totally feel like they got all the background people that aren't working and they're like, bang on the glass, because now they have glass around the ring, or not the ring, but on the stands. And
right.
So I think they're still doing it out of the Orlando studio or the NXT studio.
Right. And that's, they moved there, the NBA moved there, and supposedly are the wire showing that NBA players that most of them have tested, negative.
The NFL just said they tested 100 players with COVID. I don't know how.
Well, that's why their preseason is canceled.
I know that WWE is having issues with COVID. I saw that. I think the hashtag show was reporting on it that that something was going on with the wrestlers, and I think they were just letting it slide under the table and not really making a big deal about it, but people were getting sick. You can't have a contact sport during a pandemic. I don't think I'm surprised WWE has been able to do what they've been doing.
Well, and the same thing goes with baseball for the most part. But I mean, I hate to say it, but they've pussified the rules.
COVID just 2020 sucks.
You know, it's just like, hey, let's do a runner on second in extra innings, and I'm kind of, and the pitcher will get an earned run, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just stupid little things like that. I mean, Major League Baseball's pivoted. You know, is it great? No.
No.
Have I watched a game yet? I probably should, being the good baseball fan I am.
Right.
But the thing is that, you know, even businesses in New Mexico.
Oh, I gotta run, guys. Get ready for my life. So the night was great interacting. Hit me up. I'd be more than happy to join the podcast one day. Yay! Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit you up after this.
Absolutely, we should, because that'd be just to get his vibe. Oh my Lord,
I like Bill. You know what's funny though is the first time I ever hit up Bill, I was securing Fred Rosser, formerly known as Darren Young, to be at my booth, and I was talking to Victor, owner of Gemini Sports and the founder of LX Fan Fest. I said I want to do a photo shoot together with him and Wade Barrett. Is that his name? Wade Barrett?
I think that's right.
Stu Bennett. Sorry.
Stu, yeah.
He's a good-looking man. I sat there.
Yeah, I know. I remember. I kept telling you, put your tongue back in your mouth.
I was like,
but then again, you know, when I met Candace Michelle, I can't really say.
Oh my God, Candace is so sweet. I love Candace. I don't know Candace like I know. Like I know the Rangers or anybody, but at the time I hung out with her, she was just so sweet. We did she did a showing at Frank's, and she wanted to do like a meet and greet beforehand. So she wanted to get in front of a crowd and tell her story. So I mean, she wanted people to get out of the line and sit in these chairs, and so we can listen to her chat. So I was like, I'll do it. I'll just sit there and talk to Candace. And then she's like, do you have any questions? And I sat there and asked questions quite a bit. She was super cool, and we took great pictures. She was great.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the year, you look at her from back then, and you look at her now. Let's just put it this way: she's keeping herself just fine. But yeah, I mean, it's just the, you know, I mean, I'm hoping with like the different businesses, you know, I mean, this economy right now, COVID related economy, is really gonna just, it's gonna show the weak businesses and they're gonna flop.
I mean,
and then on the flip side of that, you know, like I said earlier, for every 10 that flop, there are 2 that are going to start. Yeah, I mean, I talked to one out of Las Lunas, and she, you know, she was just starting.
Hello, Lewis.
Hey, what's up?
He says, wear a mask, Martha, you're coughing too much. I felt it from my phone. Shut up. I think it's because I'm talking too much and I'm not hydrated properly. Okay, it's still early. It's 11 in the morning.
Yeah, you know, but it's almost 2 o'clock or almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon there. So
yeah, that's why he's at work. That's why he's watching this. We got to go through that video. My God.
Yeah, I won't even talk. I won't even talk about videos I've been trying to do this week. I figured out what I did wrong, but that's
besides you wrong.
I had the frames per second set way too high. So, and the thing is that it wasn't a high speed card.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it looked and sounded the way it did.
Right.
I was like, damn.
Well, I know Lewis is over there learning how to use the equipment, and there's 3 videos at the top of that he sent, and I'm like, it's you talking. I don't know what you're saying. He's like, I didn't have the mic on.
Well, like, and I mean, I'm still. I mean, I bought this a few weeks ago, and I'm still working with it.
I need to get one of those. Whatever, Lewis, if you're on, is this the camera you have too?
No, that's not the camera he has. He has a Canon.
Oh, How much was that? I need to get one for me
One
because
of those Canons, I don't know, check Best Buy's website. It's probably $700-800.
oh, what the hell, Lewis? Okay. I don't know. Lewis got this equipment. He was just like, I want to get better at my video skills. I want to do this. And I was like, then, that's why he started this. MDMC East, the reason I have those boys out there is because they know how the Comic-Con world works. They've worked with me at a show. They know how to handle a show, handle a booth. I had a situation where I had to have, it became almost like a very weird stalker episode of our arrival to New York, and I had to have the boys step in to fill in to manage one of my boys because it got kind of interesting. And so they're like, oh yeah, we'll be there. So it's great because I can easily put them into a spot. They know what to do. They've handled behind the table. And that was the objective for them, to be in New York, go do New York shows. I was looking into doing a booth at New York Comic-Con.
Right.
To do the whole bit. So they know this business. They know what I do. They know how to sell it. And the fact that, they're like, we want to do content for MDMC. Where, Lewis is like, I want to learn how to do more of this. And I said, go out there and shoot. Get whatever you get. Just get it and bring it back. And so he's become the executive producer of that project because I've done this video twice. And he's like, I don't like it. Let's do it. And I'm like, it's like now you're the client. What the hell? But I get it because he has a vision for what he wants his video to look like.
Exactly.
So we're working on it to make sure that it fits his image. So
that's right.
I told the guy that's doing that, the guy that you'll see that came as a guest but ended up working the entire time. He's also the founder of a podcast called Facts of Life. Go check that out on Spotify, Apple. And so he was filming a lot of it. And so I've been talking to him about it. And I'm like, we need to, I was like, I'm going to have to push the release of your interview back. He's like, no. And I'm like, I got to a point, I fixed the header on YouTube where it shows the development, which is the New York show, and then our show for Tuesday and Thursday. So I don't know I think I want to drop this New York video this weekend and then probably launch the first episode next Tuesday, because that one's done. I already edited it. Fine.
Cool.
I want to get that going. And then just slowly drip out the content because we already have quite a few. Mm-hmm. I want what I want.
And as CEO of the company, you have every right.
I mean, Lewis is not the CEO of this company, but
oh no, no, not you. You want what you want.
Yeah.
But Lewis,
Yes, that's what we're doing. I could hear you talk, Lewis. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he wants it right. You want it right, and that's pretty much how you got to do it.
Yeah. So we're just sitting back, and he's mm-hmm. saying there's clips missing, and I'm like, dude, let's go back and look at it and see what we got. Because, I mean, the commentary. I mean, I think Mark. I don't know how you're going to feel when you watch it, because it's not exactly squeaky clean. It's there's. It's very New York. Let me just tell you that. I think
you do realize I'm originally from Boston, so
I get it, but
stuff's not going to phase me one bit.
I know, but you're squeaky. You make me squeaky clean on this episode. Like, my mom got mad at me. She's like, "Why were you throwing a fit last week on your show?" And I was like, "Look, Mom." And she's like, "No one's going to want to work with you if you're like that." And I was like, "Look, Mom, I got plenty of people working with me. I'm good." But, I was very passionate. Like, I don't, you have to understand where I'm coming from is I see flaws and I see where people can be better, right. And I want them to be better.
Exactly.
It's not that I'm being mean. It's not that I'm, New York and Boston, I don't think get along very well.
They never have, and they probably never will. But it's the mutual respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, he's originally from Boston. Yeah. So I mean, it's just the people that are messing around with COVID and crying to the governments to open. I don't think people really understand this is a pandemic. whether you feel it is or not, people are dying. Something's killing people, and we gotta be safe, you know. And if
Right.
you haven't figured out how to make your business thrive through it, you're already behind the eight ball. You might as well be out in left field. You don't know what you're doing. But I really highly suggest everyone look into these forgiveness loans. I think what was it?
PPP,
The
the
PPP
paper,
loan. Is that forgivable?
um, a certain percentage of it is.
No.
The thing is that it really just depends. What they're actually going to do. He goes over there for the lobster rolls. Hey, he's a man of good taste. What can I say?
Pools are opening in NYC. Well, that's cool. I mean, pools are open here. They finally opened our pool. I mean, pools are sanitary though. There's chlorine and shit in there. That'll clean that kills stuff. I don't. And here's the thing, and I know we're running out of time, but there's a girl that I watch on Instagram. She actually did my hair one time. She did my hair not this last time, but the week or the year before that. I stopped going to her because she was just so bitchy to me one day. And she's very good at what she does. And I hit her up and I said, yeah, I need to get a balayage done. And she's like, I only have weekdays open. I'm like, well, I work full time. I can't go. Like, when's your next weekend? And I called in July. She's like, oh, at the end of October. And I was like, no. Do you have a late night? Like, what? And I'm like, I'm not a new customer. Can you work with me? Like, do you have,
end of October?
Mm-hmm. That's how booked up she was. And,
okay.
But the thing I didn't like about her was she would overlap. And I get it. You're trying to get more money for your buck. Because I paid her $250 to do my hair is not cheap. Okay. I do spend quite a bit of money on my hair because obviously it's your statement and it's your business card. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay for it. I don't care. But, I paid her $250 for the service, but I'm in the middle of, the drying process and she's got another girl in the seat. And so now she's working with this girl. So another girl finished me. And I'm just like, I'm paying you to do this. And I get it. You're trying to make more money. That's fine. So this girl, she would refuse to work with me. I told her, I said, I'm a past customer. Can you fit me in somewhere? She said no. And I said, fine. So the crazy bitch downtown actually gave me a really good stylist. And she has a studio or a salon in Old Town. And so I went to her and I was like, hey, this is the girl who did my hair before. Can you do that? She's like, oh, yeah. And she did a great job. I loved my hair. And I was like, okay, I'll come to you from now on if you're willing to work with me. And she's like, yeah. And the girl that was just too busy to take me on went off and opened up her own beauty salon. And now it was 2020 was supposed to be her bang year. And it got shut down due to COVID. And then everything opened back up, and then the protests happened, so she had to board up her business. And so it was shut for a week. And then now, the salon's open back up, and now they're shut back down again. And she has been raising a fit because, and I don't blame her, because beauty salons are probably the most sanitary places you can be.
That's true.
The state trains their people to make sure they follow the state guidelines to make sure there's not a reason infection or, any spread of anything. And
those cosmetology licenses come in handy.
Yeah. And so Newsom has just shut down salons again. And I'm just like, this is and again, I need a haircut. I need a new color. I need
I can definitely say I need a haircut too.
Yeah. It's just, I think, and this is where I totally back up this business, because these are people that are skilled enough to take care, and they can be COVID safe if the government would let them, but the government's not. And I think it's funny because there's another nail salon I follow in LA that does like celebrity nails. They can do their shit outside, and they're like, I guess we're doing nails in the parking lot. Like, I'm just like, I don't think
but the thing is again, that's an example of the of a business pivoting. The thing is that fine, we'll do it in the parking lot, put up a few tents.
Yeah. You know,
I mean, easy up tents are like $100 at Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, I think I acknowledge the tenacity behind these people. You know, the salon girl, as much as I personally don't like her anymore, but I still follow her work because I like what she does.
Right.
I applaud her because she got the news involved. It started to pick up traction. She has a very large following. She has 25,000 followers on Instagram because her work is she's one of the best people I've ever had touch my head. You know, I wish I could go back to her, but I'm kind of pissed the way she treated me. So once you do that, I'm done. But the fact is that she used her platform. You know, it's making waves. It's going towards the Capitol. You know, I think our leaders need to be really more well aware of what businesses they're shutting down. And, you know.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like with bars, for example. I mean, when was the last time you remember going into a bar and trying to pick somebody up? Obviously, before you were married.
That was a long time ago. That was like, yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone picked up anyone at a bar, but I remember when I was working at the Capitol, one of the great things about working the Capitol in the session is we got to go to all these events for free on behalf of the representative. So I would be my representative. I'd go in. I'm like, I'm here on behalf of this person. And they're like, oh, great. Here's your tickets. Here's this. You go sit at the bar. You get free drinks, free food, the whole bit. So that was the last time I can recall being in a bar.
God bless lobbying.
And that's the thing. I wasn't even a lobbyist. I was a legislative assistant. Mm-hmm. I went there for the session. I got that for my internship because my neighbor was the minority whip at the time. And I didn't know what the minority whip was. I didn't realize he was that big of a deal until I went there. I was like, hey, I called him on his first name. We hugged and everything. And everyone's like, oh, you can't do that. And I'm like, what? And I was like, I didn't know there were rules. And I was like, Keith, there's rules. He's like, yeah, there's rules, but it's fine. I don't care. I'm in charge. I don't care. Like,
right. I mean, and the thing is that, you know, you left an impression with them, and that's really all that mattered.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't realize how many people apply to those positions. There's only 30 legislative positions open, and I think like 1,000 people apply every year.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, and I got in.
You know what I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, even this, like when I was saying, the state government did it when they had their special session. They did half of it. Half of the chamber showed up. The other half did it via like Zoom. Mm-hmm. You know, so they could sit there and socially distance. Yeah. I mean, you know, and I remember companies that, you know, they were, I mean, a lot of them are old school, and a lot of them, I mean, like a place I got my haircut as a kid, you know, they were older men anyway. It was a true blue barbershop, mm-hmm. But they had to fold.
Dang. You know, in those situations where you can't put that online, when you can't offer your service online, those are the ones that I feel the most for, you know, because there's really no pivoting there. It's under state guideline. You can't, I mean, unless you want to go outside and do it. I don't know what the ramifications are if you deny. I think you get fined or some shit, right?
That is correct.
I know there was a barber, and I think CNN got onto this guy because he's like, this is my livelihood. I can't just stay closed. I need to go get this done. And then
he was an old guy too.
The CNN anchor's like, so basically you want to get a fine for this much money. Is that really justifiable? And he's like, I got to feed my kids. I got to feed my family. I got to do what I got to do. And I think that tenacity is something to admire, because, you know, there are some people that are fighting and they're not letting this take it down. They will put in all the measures necessary to make it safe. But then there's some people that are just crying and protesting and hoping things change. It's a pandemic. This is the first time in our living history that we've gone through this.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless you were, reincarnated from someone who lived in 1918,
Yeah.
During the Spanish flu pandemic. But, not many people can sit there and, we have something now that we didn't have back then, that little thing called technology.
Yeah.
I would say most businesses are able to actually get on there and get to the point where they can operate, with the use of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I showed you an example today of a restaurant in Rio Rancho, just a suburb of Albuquerque, and the problem is that it was an Italian restaurant, and they used the phrase big bucket entree.
Those are dated people.
But the thing is that when you think
big bucket entree,
well, when you think big bucket entree, the first thing that came into my mind was KFC.
Yo,
and I'm just like,
chicken.
I'm like, I'm married into an Italian family. I don't have to go out. I don't have to go out if I want good Italian food.
I mean, I don't eat Italian often. I don't, because I try not to eat noodles. I try to. I'm keto conscious. If that's a word.
I get it, but I don't know if it's a word or not.
I don't know. I mean, I'm like, of course, I'm not gonna eat bread. I'm not gonna eat noodles. Because I love noodles. I can force down some noodles easily, but I don't know. I think pasta is a classy. I told you this. I think it's a classy food. It doesn't go in a bucket, but
yeah, and that's just
in my mind. It goes into a swan, a dish that is into a foil swan. I think of pasta like that. I don't know.
Well, I think of it as a dish.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're gonna do something like that, it's gonna be in a casserole shaped dish. Obviously it's not going to be a real casserole dish, but at least something where you can sit there and take a big freaking spoon and sit there and scoop it out.
That's what I made last night when I was in the middle of the Funko War.
And that's the thing. A lot of people. But I look at their Facebook profile. They got a good following, but the thing is that nobody will click in on the idea of going, wait a minute, big bucket entree.
For me, because I live out here, I know I try to support local businesses as much as possible. Like I see Bill, because Bill's a small business. When I go out to eat, I try not to go to the chains. I really try not to. I try to hit up. There's a really great spot. It's a brunch spot that I love called Mama Cat's. They're family owned. Fantastic breakfast, fantastic coffee. I try to get them at least once a month. Okay. There's a barbecue shop down the road. I paid $60 the other day. I was so pissed because I got a side order of mac and cheese, and it was like one of those. It was in a foil dish, but it was like $8 for the side. But it was delicious. And I was like, I'm so mad I paid $8, but it's so good.
But that comes back to the idea of quantity over quality.
Yeah, I hated
quality
myself.
Over quantity.
I hated myself for spending $8 on some mac and cheese, but it was so damn good. I was like, I'd probably pay more for that. But they have good quality barbecue, like barbecue we know of back home, because California doesn't know how to barbecue like back home, New Mexico, Texas.
The thing is that Texas knows how to barbecue. New Mexico just learns from Texas.
That's true. What's funny though is I use this marinade for my roasts and my brisket. It's called Claude's marinade. and I can't find it here. I couldn't. And so finally, partner in crime got it. He ordered it off Amazon, and so it showed up at the house. And I was like, yes. So I went and bought roasts and stuff. I'm like, yes. And it just tastes like home. I miss home. But you know, when we're craving that kind of thing, we'll go to Up and Smoke. That's what it's called in San Marcos. It's on Restaurant Row. And,
It sounds like a cannabis store. Up and Smoke.
Up and Smoke. Well, it's like the movie Up and Smoke, right?
Yeah, I know, but I guess it's the first thing I think of, and I don't even do pot.
Yeah. And so I was like, that's a cool name, and we found out family owned, so we'll go there. It's pricey. I try to pay about $40, but sometimes, depending if I get the mac and cheese or not, go up to 60. Depending on what I get. They have a sampler plate. So you pick 3 different types of meats, and then you get like 2 sides included, and it's like $25. And I'm like, that's good to split for the both of us. We did that one day. We sat outside of their patio and ate that, and it was good. And then they have the burnt ends, which I think is an extra $2 if you want. That's what happens. You know, partner in crime's like, let's have 3 orders of burnt ends. I was like, man, that's $10, man. Don't do that.
Well, right. I mean, the thing is that, you know, you got to go with what you got to go with. I mean, and the thing is that if a restaurant has a big enough following and they're able to pivot successfully, they will have no problem.
Yeah. I mean, none of these guys have. I mean, they all have great social media. They were updating. I was really worried because the brunch spot has a very large social media following, so they were able to update us. And what they did was smart. They started selling when there was the toilet paper shortage and the soap shortage. They were selling their industrial size stuff for like $3, $6. Like, you know, they were selling what they had because they weren't going to use it because people weren't coming into the building. They set up their little like general store, and they set up and they did that, and then they were doing takeout, and then they offered delivery because they're like, we're going to turn some of our staff into delivery. Then, you know, they said once we were able to do things outside, they turned the parking lot into like a picnic area. So people at night could come and have dinner. They don't usually do dinner, but they started to do chicken and things like that. They are the perfect example of a restaurant who has rolled with the punches to be successful, and people have supported them. And I love them. And I try to go and buy their food as much as I possibly can because they're just great.
Well, and I'll give you a flip side to that. A restaurant here in New Mexico tried to sell like their stuff like that, like the toilet paper and whatnot, and they got shut down.
Really?
Yeah.
You can let them do that?
Yeah, the city shut them. The city shut them down.
That's dumb. I don't understand why they would shut them down for that.
Because they're not licensed to do that.
Damn. New Mexico sucks sometimes.
Well, and the thing is that, you know, is it backwards at times? Yes. But the thing is that, you know, our goal here is to make sure that businesses who want to learn and make things happen, you know, we'll work with.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and if we can sit there and make things better for one business, you know, the thing is that it's not a matter of, you know, it's partly what you know, but in New Mexico, it's a matter of who you know.
Right. And I feel like you have to be willing to change.
Exactly.
And I know this is a really shitty time to ask you to change, but, you know, the truth is that
what choice do you have?
You have no choice. You either conform or you don't, or you lose your business. And that's why I got so passionate last week. It's like, you know, you're wasting your time crying and protesting when you should be learning, studying, figuring out what your next move is. And that's what makes me so mad is that you're wasting your time. There is no time, especially during this time of the pandemic, because, you know, I have a feeling we're headed towards another shutdown. And I hope to God that's not the case. Unless, you know, a miracle vaccine pops up and we're good to go. But I don't know.
My money, not till there's not going to be anything close until either the end of this year or early next year. But also you have to remember it has to go through more clinical trials. You know,
The UK has one that they tried. They have one that's working.
Right. Yeah, in Oxford to be specific.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is that they don't have a lot of the red tape for that type of stuff that we do here. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that I mean, I've learned little things here and there about the UK. I mean, the thing is that yeah, they have socialized medicine. It works for them.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is that, you know, Medicare in Medicaid, socialized medicine, you know, but the thing is that people don't even want to go anywhere near it.
Right.
You know, and the thing is that, I mean, it boils down to this. I mean, you have to pivot. You have to be able to do what you need to do to keep your business alive. And then obviously you have to take a really cold, hard look at yourself in the mirror and say, can I make this go any longer?
And I think that's the most difficult part with anybody is to come face to face with yourself to make that change. And I think most people are too prideful to do that.
Right. And the thing is that, you know, one thing that's been pointed out more times than I can count is that especially New Mexico is very, very polarized on whatever side of the political spectrum you're on. You know, the thing is that, you know, sometimes you will get looks wearing a mask. I mean, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I went to the local post office up here, and I was dropping stuff off. I had a mask on, and it says, you know, the person, I mean, a short Mexican guy, okay, looked at me and said, "You must be a liberal." And I'm kind of going like,
isn't it mandated though? My mom is
yes, that it is.
My mom lives in Roswell. She's like, I have to wear a mask everywhere. I'm like, yeah, Mom.
Yeah. And the thing is that I looked at the guy and I went, he's like, I looked at him and I took my mask off and I went, do you really want to get started with me? I'm 2 times your size. And I'm smarter than you. I'm going to walk away now.
People don't be starting fights with people. People wear the mask. It's for your safety. It's for our safety. We're trying to flatten the curve. I think, you know, I was really pissed that California, we flattened it pretty well. And then because we did so well, we opened up fast and then people forgot. And I guess we ruined it. But
well, and that's correct. I mean, a lot of people in, you know, I mean, Texas basically had that coming to Jesus talk. Florida still off in their own little world, you know, and then you have California, who is a lot different. It is the complete opposite of Texas and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if my memory serves, California has the world's 5th largest economy.
Right. That's why we went on our own after the election.
You know, in that, you never know. But the thing is that a lot of people, it's just so hard now with, you know, the politics of it all and, you know, all the other topsy-turvy garbage.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we're sitting here willing and able to sit there and show clients that there is other ways to do stuff.
Right.
You know, and if we can sit there and do whatever we can do to make it happen, I mean, yes, things are not cheap. Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is what we do is not a cheap proposal. I mean, it's a rare thing if you run into us and find that it's a cheap proposal, because we're probably doing next to nothing.
I feel like, you know, we don't do sticker shock. Okay. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe people have gotten shocked by our prices, but if you go and shop it around, you're going to find out we're cheaper than most people. So you're paying for really good quality work. And I think, you know, and I try to itemize everything that we do and
Right.
really try to go into detail why we're going this direction, you
Right.
know, and tell you why it's important to do this as well, you know. And I try to give you my best example as to why. And so when you get the proposal from us, you know, we'll wait and see if you have any questions, concerns, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. You know, it's like, okay, what didn't you like about it? What did you like about it? You know, and then kind of have that conversation. And then
Exactly.
we're usually really quick to start up new projects. We, you know, probably takes us about a week to prep for the actual execution of what we're doing. So,
Right. I mean,
you know.
and the thing is that, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, we can't, unless we've worked with that type of client beforehand. I mean, it really depends. I mean, it could be upwards of a week before we, you know, get rolling. But I mean, if we worked with the types of clients, I mean, we've worked with a lot of e-commerce clients.
Yeah.
And the thing is that one of, you know, my stronger specialties is e-commerce, as well as the PR aspect.
Yeah.
However, you know, we both know that you're trying to bring me over to the dark side of marketing.
You need to get on the dark side of marketing. I think
The dark side.
I have seen a lot of public relations people take on positions in marketing and have failed. And
well, right, exactly. I mean, you have to be able to think it through.
and
You know?
I think there's definitely room for you to be a good marketer. I think I fancy myself as a good marketer.
I think you are.
I don't
And
think
I'm not just sucking up because you're the boss.
no, thank you. I think I'm good at what I do. I believe I'm very good at what I do. I don't think I'm the best because I work with the best, and I'm like, damn, I want to be just that good too. And that's the thing is that especially when no matter what area you're in, no matter what business you're in, you have to be willing to learn new things. I'm in the middle of a huge project for a client right now. I sat there last week and went through a software program and did an entire training on it just so I can be very well versed to implement this big change I'm about to implement with the company, because I want to make sure it can be seen.
And they're, you know, and obviously, you know, they're a significantly large client, you know, and in the operations that they have, I mean, you know, you have to be extremely detailed oriented in order to make sure that you can make it happen.
Yeah, and that's now including me talking to people outside of the marketing bubble, and now I'm talking to operations. Now I'm talking to, you know, sales teams. I'm now, you know, and it's great. I love this stuff. I think it's great, and I know it's going to make them more efficient. So it's exciting, you know. And you know, another client we have is Cadnetics out in Pittsburgh. You know, that company is strictly an online company that offers services online. So they are stationed out in Pittsburgh, but they can service anyone in the world. And they have the scanning technology. They have, you know, really cool ways to help those that are in designers,
exactly,
architects, you know, and they have a way of doing it virtually. So that's what made them successful during this time. So I'm really fortunate to be working with them as well.
Yeah, and that's just going to kind of be where, I mean, a lot of these businesses are coming from is that, you know, I mean, the ones we're talking about are constantly evolving, you know, and the thing is that the clients in particular, you know, we basically show them an option. They're like, okay, do it.
Oh yeah. I've done that many times where I've pleaded my case and they're like, do it. How long is it going to take? So
how long is it going to take and how much is it going to cost me?
And we're very thorough when it comes to things like that. So
right.
We definitely don't. We're not a business coach out there that's going to tell you it's going to cost $6,000 and we don't tell you what's included in that. We are very specific about why we should implement the systems we're about to implement, why it's going to help your business, and how it's going to help your bottom line.
Exactly. So. I mean, you're not wrong on that.
Nope.
So what is the topic for next week?
Oh, goodness. Let me check. I knew you were going to ask that, and I didn't prep it. I think we scheduled out far enough to these posts for the month, and I want to start talking to people and getting guests in. Let me see here.
Okay. I know the one we want in. Oh yeah.
The 23rd was today, so the next one's the 30th. So, oh yeah. Speaking of businesses, our next episode 9, when is it time to bring on help? So as entrepreneurs like myself, when you start to get
overwhelmed with the work,
overwhelmed with your workload, you want to be able to give your clients all the attention possible. You come to a very interesting point where you're like, when do I bring on help? So we're going to talk more about that because I have lots of examples.
Oh, yes, you do. And I think I can probably come up with a few myself.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I think we always have fun. It's easy to do a show like this when, we have so many life experiences to bring to the table.
Yeah. And hopefully one of the biggest things is we make sure that, we're not just here to inform, we're here to entertain and act like, act goofy because, that's who we are.
We talked about WWE for a good 10 minutes.
But the thing is that this is a business, this is why we do what we do.
It's our passion.
And we're able to sit there and make people realize that, marketing overall isn't hard. But the thing is when you're juggling the multiple hats of a entrepreneur, it's probably going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I give you an example, and I'll leave you with this, is the travel agency I work with.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're like, tell me what's going on every so often and we're good.
Right. I have weekly meetings with clients, so.
Well, some people
like that, some people don't.
Well, and the thing is that I know with my travel agency client, basically, I kind of nicknamed him Waldo, because he was, he's taller than I am. He's 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that I will jokingly, when I used to go into the office, I jokingly said to the front receptionist, I said, "Where's Waldo this week?" Referring to the owner.
Yeah.
And he's in Paris this week. He's actually going to go over to Rome and then he'll come home.
Nice. That was my trip I was planning.
It's just it's interesting. They've entrusted me with their external image and their stuff. So I mean, it's a privilege to be able to work with clients like that.
That's a cool client. I have a cool client like that where we don't do weekly meetings. She's just like, just make sure it gets done. It's like, okay. And I've known her for such a long time, so she trusts me, but other clients, it's like, let's do a weekly meeting just to make sure. And that's another service we offer as well. We're not going to take your money and run. We actually sit there with you and try to figure out.
Yeah, we'll actually sit there and be like, hey, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. This is how we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And if you want to put more money to it, this is about how much it would cost you.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously we both know, from the social media perspective, organic only gets you so far. Unless you're posting a lot more consistently, and you're posting stuff like, like I'm doing a series right now where it's 10 days of Ted Williams,
right?
And my next series is going to be autograph porn.
Nice. Is this like Playboys that are autographed and stuff?
What now?
Is this like Playboys that are autographed?
No.
Oh. I was like, Candace is Playboys in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Where did I put it?
You have 2 boys. You better find that.
Yeah, I crap. I'm really gonna have to look for it after we're done.
Maybe your father-in-law took it. No,
my father-in-law's got his own. Thank you.
Oh. All right. right. On that note, I'm going to wrap this up with. I meant to mention this at the beginning of the top of the broadcast, but the Back to Action project casting is done for the most part.
Right.
I'll be working on creating those announcements. We're going to start dripping out some of those. Those voice auditions were fantastic. Brendan did all the casting. I kind of gave my 2 cents on who should get what. But he's the whole entire director of that. So he's got better experience than I do with casting and
Right.
productions and things like that. Something I don't have experience in. But I listened to some auditions and I gave him my favorites, and we came to an agreement on some. So the rest I left to him because I didn't, it's his baby. So we'll start announcing. We did announce our Goldar, and that is the wonderful Kyle Garrett did a fantastic rendition of Goldar. Brendan announced it on his Facebook Live the other day.
Right.
So we're going to start dripping out those contents of who got what here soon. And then also don't forget to keep an eye on the MDMC Instagram account. The New York boys now have access to the account. So now they're running around the city, giving you some really cool content. The development should be dropping a video. I want to drop this tomorrow. But if it remains to be the case if it comes out tomorrow or not. But it'll be dropping here very soon. And the development has several sit-down interviews with amazing entrepreneurs and people in New York that are definitely pivoting during this crucial time and still in business. And I think that's a great story to tell. We have people with podcasts, we have music producers, we have a small business owner. We have really good content coming out of there. So I want to thank Lewis and Eddie. Lewis, the executive producer of the development. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that content. We are very busy here. I don't think you guys realize how busy MTMC is right now, but
yeah, exactly. I mean, so on that note, obviously we don't like, subscribe, hit the notification button to so when when we go live. Follow us on the wonderful different social medias. They're all below. And we will talk with you later.
See you later, Mark. Bye, everybody.